So it's been a long time, but I wanted to come back and make a video, and I decided to make a video this time that was, it's not too personal, but I think it connects to me in two different kinds of ways. Um, so I'm 27. I'm a fresh 27. Um, and what is that sound? Hold on. Sorry about that. Turn the lights down, by the way. But what I want to talk about today, I'm going to talk about it while I do my skincare, and I talk about some skincare products. I want to talk about age gaps. Um, I know that in recent years they've come to be like a bigger topic among people, and I think it's something worth talking about. So the thing that like kind of triggered me to speak about it was that I want to say it's been a few weeks. It might have been like a month ago. Around a month ago. Again, I'm 27. Somebody who was like 8 years younger than me asked me out, and I told them no. I was like no, and they they were pretty good about accepting it. They did ask me why, and I was like, well, you're 19. And, they kind of asked me, like, what the issue was with that. Like, it wasn't that big of a deal. And I could really only, like, then verbalize that I knew based off of, or that I felt based off of how I had seen other relationships with that kind of age gap take place, that I didn't feel comfortable, replicating that. I didn't think it would work out, something like that. But today, I was watching something, and like it kind of hit me, like how I want to verbalize it, right? So, for me, a big issue is that when I was that age, because there's always going to be a time where when you're talking about somebody younger than you, where you can go back and be like, yeah, when I was that age, right? And like, if it's 1 or 2 years, or if you're like a lot older, where maybe those like huge milestones have really caught up with you, it might not be that big of a deal. But when I was like 19, when I was a teenager, like at 19, I can tell you like what specifically I had and hadn't accomplished, what type of things I was doing, the places I was going, the things I was into. And today it hit me that I really value a lot of the experiences that I got to have at, the bright age of 19, right? And those in comparison to things that are happening to me currently, in my current point in life, at my current state in life, they're different. The places I'm trying to go, the people I'm trying to meet, the goals I'm trying to accomplish, it's a very, very different place. And more than anything, I thought to myself, I would hate to be responsible for taking those opportunities away from somebody that age. Like, that's the biggest thing that bothered me about it. It was like, okay, what was I doing when I was 19? You know what I was doing when I was 19? When I was traveling, I wasn't in college, but I was trying to get into it. And I was overseas, and you know what I was doing when I was overseas? I was going places with people my age. I was doing things like going to arcades in Asia, going to like that trendy food place on Instagram, trying out those quick fashion trends. That's what I was doing, and I had a lot of fun doing it. Um, but I'm not doing it now. I'm, and it's not to say that I might not ever see a trend on Instagram and be like, oh, I want to get on that, or that I might never want to go to like an arcade again. But I do not think I would enjoy it the way I enjoyed it then. I don't. Um, and like that's not the full extent of like life experience that I had at 19, but like those are things that like I considered big things to do at that age. If I went to an arcade, you know, today with some people my age, like I'm not saying I probably still enjoy it, right? But would I be willing to do it like once or twice a week, every week for the next 30 weeks? I wouldn't. I know I wouldn't. I probably wouldn't even go that much if I was invited. Or I might, but all of my friends wouldn't. I know, because I I have a job and my friends have jobs, um, and we have things that we have to do. We have schedules. We have timetables that we need to adhere to, um, and we're all super comfortable being like, oh yeah, well, I have a meeting at 3 on Tuesday, and because of that I have to push my errands up to 9, so I'm not gonna be free Monday night because I need to prepare for that in the morning. And you're like, yeah, totally, that's fine. But like at 19, man, at 19, if one of my friends told me that they couldn't hang out with me because they had an errand, I would have been a little bit hurt. I would have been like, really? Like, I probably I would have understood, but I still in the back of my head I would have felt like, oh, I'm not that important, something, and that's like, it's for that age, it's for them, and it's not for me. I and it was really hard for me to really like put that out there, and I think it was because like I have a really specific personal belief, okay? And my personal belief is that there really is someone out there for everybody. I do believe that. And I believe that just by like the numbers of people that there are, just by the circumstances that people are born into, um, you know, the distance that people might have to travel. Everybody is not, everybody's lifetime person, their like soulmate, is not going to be born right next to them. It's not going to be somebody who's always the same age as them. That's something that I really do believe in at my heart, right? Um, so when I hear like these testimonies, because that's really what they are, where people are talking about like, oh, well, I met my husband when I was 18 and I hadn't even started college yet. He's fresh out of high school and he was already 30, paying 2 mortgages with 2.5 children, and we've been married for 30 years now. And like that's great, like truly, like that worked out for you, that you have like a great relationship and you had a great life together. That's fantastic. Like I'm not saying that it's impossible, but like how likely is it? Because that's just not the story of every person that has that age gap, right? Unfortunately, there are bad people out in this world trying to take advantage of people who are just, their age is just a number. I have all the time in the world. I'll do anything I can for the person that I love. And it's also that people are selfish, like Where that sometimes I know that people will say like love is kind and gentle, and love is never selfish. I'm not sure I believe that. Okay, so this is a toner I got like I don't know, 2 months ago, 1.5 months ago. It's from Aqua. I got it off Soko Glam. I love to shop there, and it's a cleansing toner. I got it because I've tried some of their other products, and I do like really enjoy them. Um, it's like what is it? It's licorice based, and it goes by like traditional. Like it says like it's like tagline is like traditional dermatology, and I don't know personally how traditional this stuff is, um, but it has that medicinal like old age kind of smell to it. Um, I won't say that it's like super beneficial to use or anything like that because as you can see, I'm not somebody with a lot of like additional. Hmm? Okay, that I don't know. Something was in my ear. Um, I'm not somebody with a lot of like additional texture. I'm not somebody with a lot of blemishes, a lot of dark circles. I what I would consider a pretty even um, skin tone, and I've never had any like big issues like cystic acne or like hormonal acne. So like I can give you my feeling on a lot of my skincare, um, but most of the time it's just based off of those additional things like how it smells and how it wears, and if I think it's hydrating, which I do with this. Um, it claims to be a cleansing toner. I'm I'm actually not that sure how cleansing it is. I have another cleansing toner that I use. What is it? This one from Neogen. It's the Calendula one. This one I feel like is a little bit more like I feel like cleansing with it. Like this is like okay, well, to be honest, I can be a little lazy with like actual like getting out my face wash and getting in there sometimes. Um but like if I'm like, man, like my face needs to be washed, but I don't have like the time to wash it, I'm more likely to use this. I really love both. But I got this. I started using this like last year, and I think I've just used it so much for that. Whether or not this one is cleansing yet, but it's nice. It feels hydrating. My face doesn't feel like sticky or dry afterwards. There's definitely things that are a little bit more hydrating, but those are also hydrating toners. So give or take. Um, but as I was saying, because I get off topic. Um, there are there are people that I'm sure that there's someone out there for them, like right now. Like the person that's meant for them is out there right now already, and they might be a little bit older than them, but there's also people who take advantage of that, right? And I've always thought that like if right now if my soulmate is really some like 18-year-old fresh out of high school and college right now, then I have to wait. I mean, Because here's the other thing. Here's the other side of that whole, like, I don't want to take memories, and opportunities from them. I also don't want to hold myself back, like, let's say you're in your late 20s, you're like even 30, right? But your soulmate is some 18-year-old out there, right? Some college freshman. They're doing this really specific program at this really specific place, right? But you get a job offer, and you're a full-grown adult, right? Your job is important. It just like school takes up the majority of their life, your job takes the majority of yours. That's just the way it is. Are you going to turn down the job so that you stay close to them, or are you going to ask them to uproot their life and their education for you? Maybe that might be a conversation worth having if you guys are the same age and like you both truly understand what you might be giving up. But with that age gap in between, I think it would honestly be cruel to even like suggest it, like both to yourself and them. But people don't want to talk about it. I do think that because I was a teenager and I am now an adult, I will say that I do believe truly that there are like teenagers that are out there that are like mature for their age, but never for good reasons. Like, and so I do tend to believe that teenagers that are mature for their age are also lacking in other areas that might keep them safe. Like a teen that's really well versed in like a lot of financial areas because they came from a really poor family, a really family that was really underserved, that didn't have any opportunities provided for them, that they really had to work extra hard for even the smallest bit. Yeah, people like that, I think that while they might be mature in like how, in terms of how to handle money, I think they're also very susceptible to things like financial abuse, right? I I think that if you're the average person and you fall into a financially abusive relationship, and you have an average support system behind you, you will be able to take yourself out of that, right? And you'll be able to rely on your parents or a sibling or a really strong friend group. If you're that person that grew up scrimping and saving and working extra hard for money, and you get that financial security that is the only thing that you ever really wished for, and someone's trying to use that against you, it's going to be so hard for you to pull yourself out of that, especially if you're young. But I don't think people want to have that conversation very often. Um, it's it's not for everybody. And hopefully it should be for nobody, right? Because, which I guess leads me to my next point. Um, really often when I see like that huge age gap, I really do wonder what is that younger person getting out of that relationship? Like the older person, they're getting somebody who isn't as beholden to time schedules as you might not be, as you may be. You're getting somebody who, and I don't see this like lately, but they may not be as beholden to certain stresses that adults, that like full-time working full-grown adults have to deal with. in their work life, their social life, their financial life. And I wonder just how much they can be receiving in that relationship to make it worth, again, those things that I think they might be missing out on. Like going out to, parties or clubs with your friends, going shopping for the latest trends, doing like just the things that we label as like stupid and meaningless and childish when you're like a teen. Doing all of those that they're missing because they're hanging out with like some 30-year-old. And like, and I do see like the juxtaposition in there that people get caught up on, because like I have younger friends, right? But with my friends that are younger, one, it's like a really clear cut platonic relationship, right? And the things that we're getting out of it are, just regular friend things. It's good conversation. It's enjoying the company of somebody else who has like similar interests as you. And the things that I can offer my like younger friend are usually just the only like additional thing I can offer them are things like advice. Like, well, if I know somebody who's like 20 and they're like, hey, how do I get my credit score to go up? But I got you, right? Or like I'm looking for an apartment. Like, what should I look for to make sure that I like don't hate it? Or what should I look for in a roommate to make sure that like we can kind of stay together like for a longer time? Like, sure, those things I can help with, but some of this other stuff, like if you were like in a romantic relationship, like at this point in life, my romantic expectations are absolutely, they're like, honest, at this point they're like tenfold what they were when I was 19. Okay, when I was 19, like I'd be fine with a dude just being like, let's hold hands and walk through the park. Like in at 19, if that was like all a dude wanted to do for like weeks on end, I'd probably just be like over the moon. But at my current age, I would like okay, would I want to walk in the park at any point in time while holding hands? Sure. But like I would have expectations of other things. Like, we need to be going places. We need to be discussing where our relationship's going. We need to be discussing like expectations. Right? At 19, I didn't have any, to be honest. Like, other than like the most basic like bottom of the barrel expectations. Like, you have to like treat me with respect. You can't call me out of my name. Like, but like at my current big age, like I'm thinking about marriage. I'm thinking about like our financial situations. I'm thinking about working out a mutual timetable so that we get to spend spend quality time together while not trampling over our other like adult responsibilities. And that just, it's missed by a lot of people. It doesn't come across the way it should, but that's whatever. So today actually I'm gonna exfoliate, because I haven't been like exfoliating as much as I should. And for me, exfoliating is probably like, it's the one thing that I feel like I really, really need to do, like on a schedule that sometimes I let like fall behind. Because, so obviously you can't tell, I just did my cleansing toner, and my skin is always this healthy shiny glow, right? But if I don't exfoliate somewhat often, and it doesn't really like, even like often, it feels like unfair. Like really, it's like weekly, right? If I don't do it, then I swear, like, my dead skin cells build up. Like they're like there, they're like present. Like I'll just wake up one day and they're just there. It's just looking like, it's just looking flaky. Not even like, not even like in like a dry kind of way, because I do get dry skin from time to time. But like I'm talking like flakesity, dandruff of the face, you know. So this one's probably, I guess, like one of two products that I didn't get from Sofa Glam. Um, I believe I got this on a different website just because like they had a deal going on, and I was like, well, I'm not gonna pass up a good deal, am I? But this is from a brand called, this is from a brand called Jumiso, and it's the Yes I Am toner, AHA 5%. And what I will say is that, if you aren't somebody who's used to like the more acidic toners and such, do not get this. I think this works really well. Um, but like the first, okay, so sometimes, okay, here's a little backstory about me. I love to use toner. It's like my favorite product to use. Because they just feel good. That's just the process of applying them, whether it's with um, these like cotton pads, or it's with the hands, the fingers. I just love putting them on. I love the way they feel afterwards. And so sometimes I will put on copious amounts of like a toner. And so like this Yes I Am toner, I got it, and like 5%'s not, it's nothing to sneeze at, right? Because it is, we're talking acid, right? But when I first put it on, they had said like test it out on the back of your hand, and I did, and I was like, oh, that's fine. And when I first put it on, I was like, oh, this is just like a regular toner. I wonder why they were so like, make sure it's for you. And so I did what I do with my other toners, which is like sometimes like I'll just like, when I'm just like in the mood, I'll put on like 2-3 layers of a toner. And this one, like it's not immediate, but like after a little bit, you do feel a little bit of a sensation going on. Think of it kind of like that, like since that tingle you get if you've ever used like a lip plumping lip gloss, but like worse. Because I put on like 3 layers of this stuff, so it was probably a lot more than is intended. So I've resorted to this where like I do one layer on a regular day. If I haven't done it for a while and my face is looking just like extra, crusty, I'll do like a little bit more. But like in general, I just take it all over, get it done. And the bonus side is like I tell you, the day after, like the morning, like, I only do my explanation, I only do my exfoliation at night. The morning after, just the most beautiful glow. Like, your skin will look so good. Just find just find what works for you. Like, I do think this is a nice brand. Um and keep that going. Another thing that I have from this brand that I'm not going to be using right now, because I just use this lovely little acid buddy right here. Again, it's from Jumiso, and it is this lovely all day vitamin brightening and balancing serum. To my knowledge, this is something that contains, the brightening things. I would assume vitamin C. I would actually hold on, let me see. Yeah, it doesn't actually say it contains vitamin C anywhere on there, but like I want to err on the side of like caution, because the acid buddies and like vitamin C's and stuff, they don't mix. You shouldn't mix them. You shouldn't do them at the same time. And technically, like, these are, again, same brand, different lines, right? So, but I do love it. It's an ampoule serum. Great to use, lightweight. I've used it with a few different things, and I will say that on some things, like if you put it on top of some things, it does get just a little bit sticky, a little bit tacky. You know what I mean? Anyway, I think also it's been kind of like on my mind, the whole age gap situation, because the person in question who had asked me out is actually the type of person I would go out with. Like, it's weird to say, like, out loud, but, like, I think 15% of why it was, like, kind of hard for me to explain myself was because they're not somebody who I find unattractive. I think actually they're someone I find, like, really attractive. Like, not just in, like, appearance, but in personality. Like, they're somebody who I think I do, like, vibe with. And, that's something you do look for in, like, relationships, right? Like, you want to be with somebody who, like, gets you, who's, like, like, who, like, matches your, like, energy. And let me tell you, that is hard to find. And, like, I really, like, I don't want to admit it, but I really did think about it, like, afterwards. Because, like, once you kind of, like, open that door, I don't care what other people say, I think it's always kind of open. Like, once you've kind of expressed, like, hey, I'm sexually attracted to you, like, in case you didn't know, that's always kind of up there. Like, because like, again, like, the dude in question was very good about it, like, more mature than, like, other guys that I've rejected. He was just like, yeah, like, he shot a shot, didn't work out, he's not dwelling on it, right? But I had a little personal time where I like talked to myself, talked to my friends, and I was just like, I'm not comfortable with it. And it was really more like, man, but it sucks because like he's totally my type. Like if he were like if he were like 5 years older and you know, I I thought about it because it's really easy to say no to an idea that's so far removed from you, right? Because really, the only other way that I've like really personally experienced like age gaps, like in terms of dating, is when I was on the other side of it, and then I also was against it. I was just not comfortable with the idea. Like when I was like 18, I remember when I was like 18, this dude that I had worked with, who was like, he was like a full 10 years older than me. He lived close to one of my friends. He had stopped working where we were working, but like a few times we like went over, like saw him, had some conversations. And I remember I went out to eat with him once, and that was really fun. And like he kind of like really slowly leaned into telling me that he was like romantically interested in me. And at the time I just really didn't like that idea. I will say I might feel just slightly a little bit different now, but at the time, the idea that someone who I was hanging out with, like really platonically, like saying like, oh, they had like romantic feelings for me, just felt creepy. Like I know that like now I understand that to be like just kind of like a natural way of the world. Like sometimes you're friends with somebody and you develop feelings, right? But at the time, I I I would describe myself as almost feeling like violated. Like like when to me when we went out to eat and we were having fun, we were just, you know, eating, being buddies. But like I kept thinking like was that a date to him? You know? When we were hanging out, we were having conversations. Was he having those conversations with me because he saw me as a prospective partner or because he saw me as a friend? And I didn't really like that idea. Now, I will say that currently I do know that, some of those things, they just do overlap. Sometimes you do some with somebody and you feel like, oh, wow, that's the type of thing I would want, like, someone I date to do. That's the type of thing I would want a partner to do. And for the most part, that's fine. But, like, I really don't like the feeling of, I don't like the feeling of portraying myself how I feel like I am and being seen another way. And that's how it felt at the time. Now I know that you might really be going at a situation in your most platonic of ways, and someone just might be attracted to that. But then I wasn't comfortable with the idea, and I did feel like, and I especially feel now, like that if I felt that I had feelings for an 18-year-old when I was 28, right? I would simply distance myself. I wouldn't like continue to like be spending a lot of personal time together, and going out to eat and doing things like that, and continuing to develop those feelings. Because there's a difference between somebody being like your type and, you know, really like liking somebody. Like, your type is just like, that's, it's that physical appearance that you're interested in. It's a lot of like the bigger things that like that they show to everybody that you're interested in, but in a more romantic way, right? But for someone to spend like personal time with you and feel that way and express it, I feel like under certain situations it's just inappropriate to go that far. But I'm not, again, I'm not holding it against anybody, but it really, I guess this revelation really helped me out because one, this is a topic that I just see come up so often. Okay, so this is also like a product from Acwell, the same people that make this, and I got this because I really like this. Like, this is actually almost empty, and like the words and stuff are like faded on the front from like so much use. But I love this. It's in like it is a essence spray, an essence mist, Wow, I've never like applied this on camera, so I never knew like how much of a difference it makes. But like, having sprayed so much, I can kind of see like the temporary white cast that it had when it was all on top. Now, depending on what I'm doing, I will pack this in. So like right now, like it's just night, so I'm gonna pat this in. If it's like a hot summer day and it is summertime, I'll like go out with it just like, as is, like spray, 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 spray. And I use that liberally. I just so much because like it's fun. And I ooh, no, no, I got these new earbuds, and I'm trying to like make them work, and they're not. They are not working as I would like. But I will say, like, this is one of those products that gives you like that like instant glass skin. Like, definitely, if you're somebody who like has like oily skin, you won't like this, I don't think, because it adds that like natural sheen, you know. But again, it's night. I'm not gonna lie. I used to use this in the daytime, like right before I would go to work. I'd be like miss, 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 miss. But the only reason I don't now is because one, this is running out, but like two, I have another mist. Now this is from Neogen. This has actually been on like my list of like what I want to buy for skincare for so long, and for some reason like I would always be like, oh, but I want this new toner instead, I want this new moisturizer instead, I want this new this or that, and so I just never ended up actually like going through with it. But then like a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, I was like, you know what? Yeah, let's go out and let's get it this time, right? And like I don't know what took me so long to pull like the trigger, especially like after, because this is the one I was originally gonna get, but when I was originally gonna get this, it was sold out. Like the first time I was like, okay, 100%. This time I'm getting this one. It was sold out, so I got this one instead, right? And this is amazing. But then I was like, I'm gonna get another one this time. I had like a coupon because I shop at Soko Glim a bit. And they were having like a flash sale at some other things. I was like, okay. This is what I've been using now, like right before I go to work, right before I like go outside. Um, it's nice. It's still a serum essence, and it's in the same ballpark. Um, and you know, I don't. Okay, so here's the thing. This one I know has similar ingredients to the toner. And it has has a somewhat significant ingredient of licorice, right? This one, it says that it's one of its main ingredients is hydrogen. Which, like, I don't know. Like, hydrogen, right? Like, I was almost like, isn't hydrogen, widely available in the air? It's called H2O, you know? But it had a lot of good reviews, and whenever I had seen, like, people use it, I was like, that just looks so nice. And it's from a company that I really like, which is Neogen. Neogen has so many different products that work. I think they have like a really solid following, and so I would always kind of push it off because I was like, well, it's just like a hydrogen-based serum spray. I use it before I go, and like I never take it out with me, but I say that I will because it has that kind of like feeling to it, like, wow, like sometimes like, when I'm like out on a walk, I'm like, when it would be really good for me to like have this with me. The reason I actually don't take it out with me is because I'm afraid of, like, I don't know what ingredients are in this, but the like container is like, it's maybe metal, some type of metal, maybe it's like a tin can, aluminum type of situation. I'm really afraid that I might be out and it might like heat might reach it some way and like spoil it. So I just don't want to take the risk. But I like it so far. What I will say is its biggest claims are to reinforce and strengthen the like moisture barrier, and like I don't have any reason to believe that it doesn't do that. But again, like it's hydrogen based, like it it should definitely keep things moist. Whereas like the other one, it is supposed to be pH balancing, which isn't something I have an issue with to begin with. So I have really just two more other things to put on, and then the face will be done. That is for exfoliation day. So this is, to be honest, I'm not really sure. This is Elancilia CPP. It's a collagen intensive eye cream. So I generally do not use eye creams because I've always felt like maybe they were a scam, right? Because what I always felt like, what could the eye cream be providing that I need to be different from my facial skincare, for the rest of the face? And I didn't feel any different when I bought this, just that, if I'm honest, it was on sale. It was on sale for a really good price on a flash sale. And I was like, you know what? I've never had a permanent eye cream. I've never really used a dedicated eye cream. I've had some samples, what was it? Laneige, I believe. They had some water. It's in a little tiny blue thing. I had that, and it felt nice. Now, okay, here's the thing. So this is supposed to be collagen based, right? And also it's supposed to be I think most of them are brightening. Okay, but my thing is at what point after continuous use do you decide yeah, this is definitely what's helping me brighten up my under eyes? Because I'm chocolate skin girl myself. Under the eye it can get a little bit dark, especially when I'm tired, but it's also not dark, you know what I mean? So how light are they supposed to, how bright is brightened? Because I know brightened and lightened are supposed to be different. And after how long should you see a difference? Because I don't know. Also, I guess you saw me at the beginning of the video, and I know this isn't super great video quality, but is this a preventative care type of item? Hydrating can prevent you from getting dry, right? But putting this under my eyes, is it is it helping my under eye care in the future? Because in the present, they're not that bad, you know what I mean? I don't know. Definitely if I was using makeup, it'd be brighter down here, right? But it's not exactly no one would be oh, that's a girl with dark circles, you know what I mean? I don't know. So anyway, we're so far removed from the conversation about whether or not it's good to date younger. But I just, ever since that happened, I've been really thinking about it, because it's one thing when you're not really considering it, or when you're on the when you're on the other end and you have like, people sound like, oh yeah, it's not definitely not worth it to date a man 10 years older than you, and like you're personally not okay with it. But like at my now current age, like, yeah, when I was asked, I'm not gonna pretend that I didn't like consider it. I just overall was like, I don't really want to do that. I'm not sure I see the benefits in that. I might think it's a little bit morally wrong, but like, the person was not unattractive, which I think is another thing like that needs to be discussed. Because, oh, if you're wondering how I do that, so like, you see how like strong like lines in my eyes are? I swear product gets in there and I need to just like, you know, get it out. Just to make sure it spreads. But I think there's this really weird and I think kind of backwards, a little bit toxic culture on the opposite end where people are like, wow, you found like a 17-year-old like attractive even though you didn't know they were 17 when you said they were attractive. Like, I don't like that. I don't, because like, a thing that I will say, and I'm not saying this is like a blanket statement, but like, there are definitely some people that look a little bit older than their age. Now, most of them don't look so far ahead of their age that these people can be lying out here the way that they do. Where like a dude will be like, yeah, I had sex with a 15-year-old, but don't tell me she don't look 30. And you're like, and like you'll be provided with a picture of said 15-year-old and she looks all 15 years of age, and just that. But I don't think it's wrong to like find someone physically attractive when they are physically matured. You know what I mean? Because I think that when you kind of deny, like when people kind of lie about that like possibility, like they're like, oh, a 15-year-old is just 15 and they look 15, and then when you do get a 15-year-old that does look like they could like they could reasonably be like 21, like someone could, like it's reasonable for someone to believe that, then I feel like it almost hurts them, because like the teen, because then it gets turned into a like, well, see, that's their fault for existing and looking older than their actual age, when really it should be like a, hey, they're 15, but they look 21 and you thought that's the age that they were when you were like physically attracted to them, but it's wrong for you to have done anything with them once you found out they were 15. Like, you don't, like, it's not an excuse. You don't get to be like, oh, well, I mean, they look like an adult. And I know that they're not an adult, but like, they look like one, Because like, in my case, the guy's 19. Like, he's an adult. Like, legally, he's an adult. He can do some of the adult things, not all of them. He can't drink, So like, for me, that's like a thing where I'm like, huh. Personally, I wouldn't date anybody under the age of 21, because I like myself a drink, right? This is the glycolic acid cream from Apu. And this is also like low key, but like high key, really hydrating. You know, I I did beat myself up a little bit. Like, we're being like, man. Because here's the thing. Like, you know how you can, like, kind of label somebody as like an attractive individual without being, like, sexually attracted to them? That's what I had done with this person in question. Like, because I never considered them as like a potential, whatever, hookup date, whatever, because of their age, right? And then when they asked me out, like, it became hard for me to separate that same way. Because again, I did consider, like, I was like, oh, you know, it's attractive dude, just interested in me. But alas, it will not be. And here's another thing. I'm not really, like, regretful about it, because here's the thing. I always, like, and this is what I always tell, like, people when they get really down on themselves. If you try really hard, it's like, if you really just, like, you just want to get the deed done, you can find somebody who'll do it with you for free. So, at the end of the day, like, yes, I was attracted to him. Yes, if he were older, I'd be interested. But at the age that he is, I don't want to be interested. I won't allow myself to. But I will also, like, I won't say that I'm not going to judge at all, but I'll try to keep the judgment to a minimum. Because before, like, I swear, like, before he asked me, if you would ask me, like, before he asked me out, I would have said, like, ugh. How could anybody ever be, like, how could anybody really, like, know someone's 19, someone's, like, 18, like, fresh out of high school, in their first year of college, and you're, like, a full-grown adult, and you're, like, oh, like, I'm attracted to that. Um, and, I ate my word. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, but as adults, I think we have a responsibility to take on some of that burden and make better choices for ourselves and others. And that's what I've decided to do. Right? At the end of the day, I think it's a bad decision. And like, I told him that, like, we had a little bit of a discussion over a little bit of time, and I was like, we're in different stages of life. We have different things that we want to accomplish, different things that we want to consider, and I don't really want either of us to be holden to that. I don't, like, first of all, can you imagine how miserable it would be to be thinking about marriage while you're, like, doing stuff with a 19-year-old? Delusions of grandeur. I wouldn't even, the best 19-year-old in the world, the most mature 19-year-old in the world, I wouldn't marry him. Oh, that just sounds horrible. But, anyway, I think, people just need to be willing to step back and say, look, like, you're a very attractive person. You have a nice personality, but I don't think we're both ready for each other. Oh, And that's really all it is. That's really all there is to it. Anyway, thank you for watching this like hour long talk about nothing. Thank you for watching my video about skincare and age differences. I'm gonna try to post more because I said I would, but I do not. Next time I'm gonna talk about either a cooking show or anime or both. Like, I can do both, right? Anyway, thank you. Goodbye.